presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox. We are Ohio.
An absolutely picture-perfect weather night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati. We got a big night tonight. Got a ball game, got the fireworks, we got Flow Rider. There's a lot happening at GABP tonight, and it starts with the Cardinals and the Reds in Game 1 of 3. And look who's here tonight. Hi again, everybody, alongside the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley and Jim Day. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to Reds Baseball. You know, it's interesting how the pendulum perhaps is starting to swing the other way. For years and years and years, the Cardinals just dominated the Reds. And now all of a sudden, Cowboy, the Reds have won 11 of the last 17. The last regular series they played, outside of a one-game makeup set, the Reds swept them 4 in a row. And that was hard to believe.
Yeah, it was, Tom. And I think when you look at this Cardinals series, especially the way things have gone the last few years, you look down and you think, all right, was it just pitching? Was it just hitting? Was it something the Reds were doing special? Well, they just weren't intimidated by the Cardinals. I think that's the #1 thing.
Well, you go back to that series in June, and who could forget it? Scooter Gennett was just getting things warmed up. He had the 2-run double in Game 1, a 4-2 win, and then the big night, Cowboy, for Scooter.
Yeah, 4 home runs in a ball game. I remember after the second one thinking, boy, this has been a special night. And he had 2 more to go.
I mean, it's a night no one will ever forget. Just the 17th time it had ever been done in Major League history. 4 home runs in a single game. Moving on to Game 3, it was a 5-run 7th inning, highlighted by home runs from Kiblahan and Votto. And then Game 4, they got it done on the map.
Yeah, and I think when you look back at that series, as Feldman pitched shutout baseball for 7 innings, you look back at that series and you think, all right, 4 straight wins here at Great American Ballpark. And the Cardinals only scored 9 runs in that series. I mean, that tells you something about what it takes to beat the Cardinals, and that's good pitching.
Well, let's talk about the pitching here tonight. Back into the rotation, at least for one start. Asher Wojciechowski replacing Tim Adelman. He has thrown the bell exceptionally well out of the bullpen.
Yeah, I think the aggressiveness of Wojciechowski out of the bullpen has really aided his ability to pitch out of the bullpen. The question mark, and I think you can look at the splits and the numbers, the question mark is, okay, how do you take that aggressiveness from the bullpen and slot it into a starting role? And don't worry about it the second time through the lineup or the third time, just pitch. And that's what he's done out of the bullpen.
I mean, look at these numbers. Of all National League pitchers, now granted, not a lot of innings, not a lot of batters there, but under 100 the batting average. Meanwhile, a familiar face on the mound tonight for the Cardinals, a longtime Red, Mike Leake.
Leake, 7 starts now, Tom, has yet to put a win on the board against the club that drafted him and brought him up to the big leagues. He's pitched very well against the Reds this year, but still no W's in the win column.
No. And the Reds hope to keep it that way here tonight. All right, when we come back, I mean, if you want to know what's going on with the Reds, and in particular, you want to know what's happening with Joey Votto, there's only one man to turn to. That's Jim Day. He's standing by next.
again by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Good evening. I'm local 12 meteorologist Scott Dimick. It's a red tie with the Red Birds meeting up with the Red Legs tonight at GABP. Showers and thunderstorms from earlier today have pushed to the east of the stadium. Cooler, drier air is moving in. The sky will become mostly clear tonight as temperatures fall from 74 at first pitch down to 66 by the final out of the game. Go Red Legs and enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
You play teams in your division more than other teams, so you hope that your stars play well against those teams. And in the case of Joey Votto, he plays very well against the Cardinals, not only this year but in his career. As RIGS bringing the energy this season, 10 games versus the Cardinals, .421 average, including 4 home runs. In his career, he has an on-base percentage of .440. That's the highest on-base percentage versus the Cardinals since 1920 of anyone, ahead of guys like Ralph Kiner, Hall of Famers Tim Raines, Bagwell, and Jackie Robinson. So when he sees the Cardinal red, he turns up the wick. And the Reds hope that continues tonight. It's the first of 3 Reds and Cardinals to kick off a homestand here at Great American Ballpark. Asher Wojciechowski gets his shot in the rotation. Tom and the Cowboy are next.
Beautiful night for baseball here tonight in Cincinnati. Cool temperatures, blue skies, remnants of sunshine. And Mike Matheny brings his Cardinals to town, 2 games under 500. Let's take a look at his starting lineup presented by Menards. Carpenter leads off. He'll play first. Pham having an excellent year in center, and DeYoung having a great first year at short. Piscotty, Kelly for Molina, then Wong at second, Grichuk in left, Garcia third. Former Red Mike Leake on the mound. Asher Wojciechowski makes his 5th start, his 13th overall appearance. He's pitched very well out of the bullpen.
For Asher Wojciechowski, well, let's just pretend you're coming in the 3rd and you're going to pitch the last 5-6 innings of the ball game. Sometimes you just have to play a trick on your own head. Do what you did out of the bullpen.
All right, here we go. He's replacing Tim Adelman, at least for this one turn through. You figure that a real good chance Scott Feldman will return into the rotation without a rehab start next week. First pitch fastball away to Carpenter. This one underway. Carpenter having a down year, no two ways about it. Second year in a row, numbers have been down. 249 batter. Does have 14 home runs. Good on base percentage at nearly 380. And this guy will make you work out there on the mound. He's not up there free swinging at the first strike he sees every at bat.
May not be the prototypical leadoff guy from a speed perspective, but as far as getting on base in the leadoff spot, I think you could ask for a whole lot more.
That ball is hammered, and I mean hammered, foul. And a good thing that ball may wound up in the river.
Well, that's how you're supposed to swing at a 2-0
Yeah, you're
pitch.
right.
Look fastball, middle in, and go to town. Just happened to be a little early.
Fastball, and it's on the inside corner for strike 2. You know, Cowboy, you're a guy, and you and Jim Day talked about this in the pregame show on Reds Live tonight. You know, you originally a starter, you go to the bullpen, and of course that's where you wound up as the Rolaids Relief Man of the Year eventually as a Cincinnati Red after really a setup role in the Giants before you came here to Cincinnati. Well, what's it like now making that adjustment, because you did it at the end of your career where you went back into the starting rotation?
I think part of it is just going hard from the time that you start the first inning. Pound the strike zone. Don't worry so much about the second time through the lineup. Don't worry so much about pitch counts. Just throw strikes and try to treat each batter as though it's the last batter you're going to face. And granted, that's easier said than done, but I think that's really how Wojciechowski approached the bullpen. He came in, just went hard as he could, going after guys, being aggressive. And I think that's really what you have to do in this starting spot until you get comfortable.
Carpenter taking a long time after swinging at that first 3-2 pitch to get back in there in the box. And once more the payoff pitch to the Cardinal leadoff batter, straight up in the air, challenged him with a fastball, and this should be the game's first out. Peraza's got it, 1 gone. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively, presented by Ford. Boy, what a nice series for Jesse Winker with the bat and in the field, and he's going to play regularly with Scott Schebler on the disabled list out there in right. Regular group along the infield, and Tucker Barnhart hangs the signs for Wojciechowski.
Tell you, looking at that pop-up, Tom, it tells you a little bit about the sun right now. Hamilton, Duvall, Suarez, Peraza, GENNETT, they all were looking up trying to block the sun. Nobody picked the ball up.
Here's a guy having just an outstanding year. The first time he's had a chance to play regularly in the major leagues after so many years as a minor leaguer just trying to get to the big leagues. And that's Tommy Pham. That pitch hit him. Barely got it. But he's a one-out base runner. And you got to watch Pham. He has 14 stolen bases.
You know, if you're a hitter, Tom, why wouldn't you just wear your shirt baggy when you get to the plate?
Or wear one 3 times too big.
If it hits your shirt, you go to first.
And that's exactly why Pham is standing over there at first. But here's been the talk of this Cardinal team, and that's the rookie Paul DeJong, the shortstop. When he first came to the big leagues, we saw him play second base. Well, now he has taken over at short, and you'd be hard pressed to believe that he will not be there for a long time to come. On his 24th birthday, a little more than a week ago, was named the National League's Rookie of the Month. Set a Cardinal rookie record for home runs in the month of July with 8. He had 16 extra base hits in the month. That one straight up in the air and out of play.
Very aggressive hitter, likes to swing early in the count. That's why it's going to be up to Wojciechowski to use his breaking ball for a strike early in the count, because DeJong wants to swing. He's not up there to take. He didn't get Rookie of the Month by walking every time he came to the plate.
He had a .638 slugging percentage in the month of July. That was the 6th best mark in all of Major League Baseball. Breaking ball, he started 2 and then held up. Now, July is the month where he was the National League's Rookie of the Month. But you know what? In June, nothing wrong with those numbers for a guy getting his feet wet in the big leagues.
And probably sporadic playing time as well.
Fastball off the inside corner, and it's 2 balls and a strike to DeYoung.
You talked about DeYoung playing second base when he started for the Cardinals. He came up playing third. They moved him to short. He played a little second. But the key is he hits the baseball. That's why he's in the lineup every day.
2 balls and a strike. Let's see if they start a runner. Nope. But they might. We mentioned that Pham has 14 stolen bases in 19 attempts. This is a Cardinal offense that has just been so woeful. You don't even need to bring it up with Mike Matheny. In virtually every major statistical category, whether you're talking about runs, runs per game, home runs, on base percentage, slugging percentage, they are among the bottom 4 or 5 teams in the National League. They've lost 5 of their last 7, and during the 7 games, they have scored a total of 13 runs, and 5 of the 13 came in 1 game.
You got some awfully young hitters here in this Cardinal lineup, batting 2, 3, and 4. Now, granted, Molina's not in the lineup tonight. But Stephen Piscotty has not been around a whole long time. Tommy Pham definitely not, and especially this guy.
2-2 pitch. Got him on a breaking ball, and that's the first strikeout for Wojciechowski. 2 down in the inning.
This pitch will be a key for Wojciechowski, and that is the breaking ball. Not just the fact that it had decent bite, but that it was over the plate. His fastball has so much movement, and he can be wild within the strike zone. But you put a little wrinkle in it every once in a while that's over the plate, you get hitters off balance, and that wasn't even really an A+ breaking ball.
So now Piscotty, 6 home runs, 31 batted in, just a .232 batter. And a fastball is high to Stephen Piscotty. Cardinals have so many players that had good years last year and just having atrocious years this year. And Piscotty at the top of the list. The force out will end the inning. A good start for Wojciechowski. Reds are coming up in a scoreless first inning. Take a look at Brian Price's starting lineup presented by Menards. It'll be Billy in center field, Jesse Winker in right, and Votto at first. Duvall in left, GENNETT at second, Suarez at third. Peraza still at shortstop. Barnhart behind the plate for Wojciechowski, and making his 22nd start in this his second year as a Cardinal after signing the big free agent contract is right-hander Mike Leake. Numbers as far as the ERA, down nearly a run and a half per 9 innings from his first year as a Cardinal a year ago. 2 hopper off the bat of Hamilton, and that was easy. 1 pitch and 1 out for Mike Leake. Cardinals on defense, presented by Ford. Bam has become a staple out there in center. Garcia at third, DeYoung, Wong, and Carpenter third to first, and Kelly replacing, for 1 game anyway, Yadier Molina. Leake, that 3.2 ERA is 10th best in the league. He's only given up 13 home runs. That's the 6th fewest, at least per 9 innings. You know, there are a lot of numbers, inside numbers, to like very, very much. And there's a base hit banged into center field by Winker. But because Leake does not pitch very deep into games, Cowboy, despite a very low ERA, he's not winning many games. Now, sometimes that's because of the offense, but frequently it's because he's just not in the game long enough where, you know, you're not leaving in the 6th with a 1-run lead. You're asking your bullpen to cover 3 or 4 innings sometimes in a game. You're not going to win games.
Yeah, I think for the Cardinals, and you mentioned it earlier, their offense has had such a struggle. You look up and down their starting rotation, guys just have tough times registering wins because they don't get many runs.
And that one hooked down the line by Votto, and that's into the corner. Winker being waved now. He'll be held up by Billy Hatcher. He ran through the stop sign, and he's still going to make it safely after a poor throw by Colton Wong. The Reds get a break because with a good throw by Wong, he is out of the plate, but instead it's 1-0, and Votto with an RBI double.
I don't believe Jesse Winker ever saw the stop sign. And you watch Winker as he rounds second. He sees the ball go into the corner. But as he rounded third, I don't think he ever picked up Billy Hatcher. And if he did, it was too late.
Well, if you notice there, Billy started to wave him, and maybe he just thought, okay, I'm going. Because then he threw up the stop sign. I don't know. And that's what it looked like there.
Run with your eyes up, baby. Run with your eyes up. He knows it now.
Well, it all worked out. Votto finishing that road trip on a roll, man, after a dreadful start on that lengthy homestand after the All-Star break. He's kicked it into gear again. So just like that, 1-0.
Well, just as you mentioned it, Tom, the wave from Hatcher, and see, there was never eye contact again with the third base coach.
Right.
Once he saw the wave home, he locked in on home plate and just kicked it into high gear.
And Wong's got a cannon for an arm, but the accuracy was not there that time. Duvall, one of the few Reds to have a really, really good road trip offensively. Had 2 doubles, 4 home runs, 10 runs batted in. He leads the Reds in doubles, extra base hits, leads the club in runs batted home. You know, it's amazing, among all outfielders in the National League over the last 2 seasons, Adam Duvall has knocked in more runs than any outfielder in the league, and that includes guys like Bryce Harper.
It's pretty good.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And last year, of course, was his first full year in the major leagues. Wasn't a rookie, but his first full year.
Tremendous doubles power, just power in general, and it's easy power. You talk about easy gas for a pitcher. Adam Duvall has easy power. He can just flip it out of the ballpark.
And don't think for a second that both Duvall and Leake aren't aware of those 11 for 22 numbers when squaring off. Center field is going to fall in a hit. And Votto will stay at second base. Joey not sure if that ball was going to fall in, but from his vantage point, probably tough to tell. From up here, we could see that was going to fall in all the way.
You know, when the ball came off the bat, it looked like the ball was going to be further than it was, but the bat shattered at the plate. So that took a lot of velocity off of the ball. Just drops right in front of Piscotty. I wonder if Piscotty got a good read on that ball.
All right, so runners at first and second base, and here's Scooter. He hit the 4 home runs in one game against these Cardinals. Got a breaking ball for strike 1.
I think the one thing we have learned about Scooter Gennett in his limited time as a Red, it doesn't matter what kind of pitcher you are on the mound. If you challenge this guy with a fastball, he's going to hurt you, and he's going to hurt you bad.
Ball and 1 strike, and a rocket knocked down by DeYoung. They will get 1, and that's all. DeYoung appeared to be blinded by the runner there, and he was pretty alertly able to make that play and still knock it down.
Ball was hit awfully hard off the bat of Gennett. I think you're right. You see the movement of DeYoung. He went down to the ground quickly. You don't have a runner coming from first going to second. I don't know that he gets Gennett there.
Here's a Eugenio Suarez, and a bouncing ball foul. Boy, the Reds going up there being very aggressive early on. Here's Suarez, the 6th batter already in this Reds first inning. And Leake has thrown a total of 14 pitches.
Well, if you look at the numbers for Mike Leake in 41 1/3 innings pitched against the Reds in his career, 53 hits. You know Leake is going to throw strikes. There's no reason to sit back and wait around.
Where Leake, the Reds, drafted by the Reds out of Arizona State, #1, and went straight from Arizona State to the major leagues the following year when he made the team and its starting rotation. And he threw the ball very, very, very well for these Reds during his tenure here.
Yeah, Leake straight out of college. He had that pitchability immediately from the collegiate ranks straight into the big leagues. He knew how to change speeds within the strike zone. He could spot the ball on both sides of the plate.
That ball in the air hit a long way into right center, and at the last moment Piscotty will run it down to end the inning. Well, the Reds get 3 hits, score a run, and lead 1-0 at the end of 1.
But look at this. The Reds have either won or split their last 5 series against the Cardinals. The longest streak for the Reds against the Cardinals since a 5-series streak from '93 to '95. And St. Louis has now lost each of its last 7 series against divisional opponents. The longest streak since 1969 for them. And with a win tonight, the Reds can win the season series against this St. Louis club. They haven't done that since 2011.
It's been a long time. It's been odd inside this National League Central the way some of these teams have gone from one extreme to the other against one another. And looking at the Reds in particular, I mean, they were so long they dominated Milwaukee, and now they have a very hard time beating that team. Going way back even to the days when Houston was still in the division. I mean, they owned the Reds for years and years, and then the Reds turned that around. And Chicago in recent years has dominated the Reds, although they've played better against them so far the last 2 series. And Pittsburgh, I mean, the Reds have just completely dominated that club this year. They've only lost to them twice.
Yeah, I think when you win ball games in your division, it starts to give you a bit of confidence. But that's part of what, when you're young, you've got to continue to build that confidence. You have to have it even when you're not comfortable with the team outside of your division.
It's in the air and playable for Joey Votto, and Carson Kelly retired. Some of you may have seen the story a week ago. Some may have not. In the situation that took place between the Cardinal manager Mike Matheny and his one-time protege and now longtime National League All-Star, their regular catcher Yadier Molina. Apparently Matheny, without using the word tired, at least painted a picture with a reporter from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch that maybe Yadier was getting worn down along that line, but certainly nothing incendiary by any stretch of the imagination, or at least not so in anyone else's mind except for Yadier Molina. Molina that same night went to social media rather than meeting with Matheny the next day face to face and talking things over. Molina went on social media and just voiced his incredible dismay and displeasure with his manager, and how could he make comments, and he trains for 174 games a year and he's a champion and so on and so forth. And I'm sure many of those things are true, but you can only imagine in a baseball rabid town like St. Louis, where you get the manager and the star player of the team, and really he's the only star left on this team at this point in time. There may be some guys that become stars, but as of today, of the position players, he's the only legitimate star, and it has turned into a huge story in St. Louis. And I'm only trying to lay out the facts, and if it sounds like from my tone of voice it's slanted one side or the other, I have no skin in the game, except for the fact that as a 30-something-year-old man, it's hard to believe you can't go talk to somebody that you're around every single day face to face, rather than sitting at home and going on social media to take up a beef with the guy who's technically your boss. It's just hard to believe, and maybe that's where we are. And what an inning for Wojciechowski. 1-2-3 go the Cardinals. 1-0 Reds after an inning and a half. #1 mobile app for live Reds baseball. Stay connected. Download MLB.com at bat today. All right, here we go. Reds bat in the second inning with a 1-0 lead over Mike Leake and the Cardinals. Good start for Wojciechowski so far. 2 innings, no hits, no runs. Peraza to be followed by Barnhart and the pitcher. Mike Leake's teams, and I say teams for whoever he's pitched for since leaving the Reds, whether it be the Giants, as out at first as Peraza, or these Cardinals cowboy, his teams have lost all 7 of his starts against the Reds. Now, he didn't lose them all, but his team lost them all.
Yeah, well, the first few times that Mike pitched against the Reds, they weren't real pretty. Now, this year, he's pitched much better. But you would think, I mean, you look at a guy like Garrett Cole. He's had 9 starts against the Reds, consecutive starts, never beaten the Reds. He's a pretty good pitcher. Sometimes there are teams that just have your number, and you just happen to play for them in Mike Leake's case.
It's interesting. Here's a name for you, Max Butcher, 0-8. We remember the name Jimmy Haynes, 0-7. Have had longer streaks against their original teams without getting a win. There you see this year he's thrown the ball really well. I mean, you can't argue with that.
But I think too, and you look at those 3 starts that Mike's made against the Reds this year, the Reds have run the pitch count up early in the ball game against Leake, and he doesn't walk a lot of guys, so you have to say, all right, well, that's a lot of foul balls and a lot of 2-strike counts where you really made Leake have to work, and you run those pitch counts up. Well, then you have to leave in the 6th inning. You might have a 1-0 lead or a 2-0 lead. Because the Cardinals are not scoring a lot of runs, it allows the Reds to come back.
And that's strike 3 called, and that will end the inning. An 8-pitch inning for Mike Leake. His first strikeout. End of 2. Reds lead by a run.
To the name, so I went to the players and asked, can you spell Wojciechowski?
W-O-G-O-Owski.
Nope. Can't do it.
I can't even say that word, so it's more likely to spell it. So I don't know how to say it. So that I'm not going to take that chance and embarrass myself in front of everybody. But there's no chance I can even. I just know it starts with a W. That's it.
W-O-J.
ICHOWSKI.
Tucker Barnhart came the closest, but that would be WOJCIECHOWSKI. Wojciechowski.
That's a good bit, Jim Day. That's good stuff. That's really good stuff. Boy, Billy Hamilton is just priceless. I mean, if there's a better interview in baseball than Billy Hamilton, I don't know who it is.
Super honesty.
He's just awesome. Let me hear a little bit, Jim. Come on, give it to me real quick.
Man, I don't even know that now. I mean, it started with W. All I know is it started with a W. I ain't gonna try to say that name because I don't embarrass myself.
1-1 to Greg Garcia. And for those of you wondering, I mean, we always want to make sure you understand here now. Jim Day does that impersonation of Billy Hamilton to and for Billy Hamilton. Billy's cool with it, right, Jim?
Billy likes it.
He laughs at it. We're going to someday do an interview. Billy interviewing Billy.
That's in the air and fouled out of play, third base side by Greg Garcia. 8-9-1 in the batting order for the Redbirds. Reds in front 1-0 here in the third. Well, it's a nice start time tonight. We talked about this when we go to Arizona. They start all their games out there in Phoenix at 6:40 the entire year during their night games. And because of the fireworks and, of course, the Flow Rida concert after the game tonight, they moved the start time up from its regular time by 30 minutes. So otherwise we'd just be getting underway, and here we are starting the third inning.
Well, you talked about it when we started, Tom, how nice it is tonight at the ballpark. I don't know that you could have a better feel sitting at the ballpark in August. Come on now.
There's no doubt.
This is perfect.
2-2 on Garcia. All right, we asked his teammates about how to spell his name. After this pitch coming up before the pitcher comes up, you're going to hear from Wojciechowski about some of the ways people have tried to say his name. It's one thing to read it, right? But then to try and figure out how to pronounce it. Pulled into right, hit hard. And that ball is into, was that off the top of the wall? It is not a home run. The runner's on his way to third. Throw there. I think everybody thought that was a home run.
Well, everybody except Jesse Winker. He went back and played it. But it looked like everybody on the infield just kind of froze for a moment.
Now this is a situation where the manager does not have to challenge. If there's a question about whether or not it's a home run, they can be asked to look at it.
It appeared with the naked eye that it hit the yellow line and bounced back. Here we get a much better view.
Yep, yellow line and straight up in the air. Wasn't touched by anybody in the stands.
It's a triple, not a homer. Looks like it hit right on the corner of the padding, and as you mentioned, Tom, bounced straight up.
Well, they're going to take a look at it just to make sure.
Well, you could see the fans behind that yellow line raising their hands in the air. There was a fan in red directly behind the baseball. You'd think if it went over, it would have smoked one of them.
And this is what's called a crew chief review. Again, this is not a challenge to the call on the field by the manager, because the original installation of instant replay in Major League Baseball was exclusively used on home run or no home run. Then it went to fair and foul. And of course we
know what it is now.
Yeah, many levels. It's just hard to believe it, that this particular call, and we've been surprised before, would take this long to reach a verdict.
They've got third base umpire Jim Reynolds, who is the crew chief of this bunch, that is underneath the headset. It appears the second base umpire, who is a rookie umpire, Ryan Addington, is under the headset as well. But both umpires, Addington at second and first base umpire Lance Barrett, both signaled safe as the ball came off the wall.
Yep.
And almost at the split second same time. You're right. They must be taking a lot of different views at it just to see if the ball did actually touch anything over the top of the yellow line.
It's triple. All right, so the Cardinals have a triple from the leadoff man here in the third, and now the batter, the pitcher, Mike Leake.
He can hit.
Excellent athlete. He has 7 hits and 42 at bats this year, 1 double and 2 runs batted in.
I used to kid Leake all the time when he was here. I said, you have what most pitchers consider a dream baseball card. It doesn't have a picture of you pitching on the mound. It has a picture of you swinging the bat.
Nice.
Of course, you hit a Garrett Cole 98-mile-an-hour fastball into the second deck. That'll get you there.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a hearty cut there, wasn't it?
Got that hair. He's got it flowing now.
He's got it going on. This will bring in a run. Now, Peraza thought about it for a second. He waited too long.
That's just not a smart play.
If you're playing in, it's one thing. When you're playing back at regular depth, it's another thing. And Leake is an excellent athlete, hustling all the way on the play. Once, twice, too late. So no physical error charge, certainly a mental error charge. That has scored a base hit and an RBI. We go back to the top of the order now. Matt Carpenter. Ball 1. Carpenter worked the count to 3-2. Got a 7-pitch at bat his first time up before popping up to the shortstop. So a 1-1 game, 1 run, 3 hits for the Reds, 1 run, 2 hits. Both Cardinal hits coming consecutively, producing a run here in the third. Brought up earlier that Carpenter's going to make you work. He swings at the lowest percentage of pitches thrown among all National Leaguers. Only swings at 35% of the pitches that are thrown to him at the plate. Just to give you an idea, the National League average is 47%. Leake appears to be tagging up. Here he comes. Here comes a throw by Billy. A bad decision by Leake. And Hamilton makes him pay. Boy, the Reds outfielders this year have thrown the ball just so spectacularly well. I guess Mike Matheny's going to ask him perhaps to take a look at this, or his video man will take a look. Look at this throw.
Well, either way, there's still only 2 out, so whoever's running off the field doesn't matter. And it looked like the entire Reds team was running off the field with that throw.
They will not challenge the call, will the Cardinals?
Is that his 10th assist now for Billy Hamilton?
He and Duvall have been in a neck-and-neck race. The Reds lead all major league teams in outfield assists so far this year. Here's Pham. For more on Tommy Pham, here's Jim Day.
Well, imagine being at the plate and not being able to see clearly. In 2016, Tommy Pham was deemed legally blind in his left eye, which is his dominant hitting eye. And he suffers from a degenerative eye condition called keratoconus. And 1 in 2,000 this is affected by. And he actually has to, this is a treatable condition. He must check his vision several times throughout the game. Sometimes it worsens during the game, so he has to have special cards that he has to read. He has a specifically made shaped contacts that he wears. He brings backups. Now, if those don't wear, he has to fly out the next day to his eye doctor and get a new prescription. And Pham describes it as driving a car with Vaseline smeared on the windshield. So this is a promising player, but dealing with not being able to see at the plate. Imagine that with your dominant eye.
Well, he finds a hole there. 2-out single by Pham. A young man had spent 9 years in the minor leagues before they called him up for all of 2 at-bats in 2014. In 15, he played 52 games. Last year, 78 games. And now, for the first time since being a professional since 2006, Pham is a regular on a major league team, and he's earned it.
I was not real comfortable standing at the plate with the guys throwing the ball 92, 93. I could see just fine and good. They throw 100 now and then some, and not being able to see so hot, I don't know about that.
No.
Just tells you a little bit about the mental makeup of one Tommy Pham.
DeYoung pops it up left side of the infield, and this should do it. Oh, boy. It will do it. Cardinals get a run. We're tied at 1.
Break brought to you by T-Mobile. Addison Russell placed on the 10-day DL with a right foot strain. Yu Darvish make his Dodgers debut tonight in the Big Apple versus the Mets. And Corey Kluber, only the 4th pitcher since 1913 to record at least 8 strikeouts in 12 or more games in a row. He joins elite company as well. Other 3, Pedro Martinez, Nolan Ryan,
and Pally, a gamer, a unit, Randy Johnson.
You better believe that, pal. That's a big leaguer. Down to first, hot smash by Hamilton, but that's out number one. Hamilton has seen 3 pitches in his first 2 at-bats against Mike Leake. A reminder coming up later on. We'll have our Miller Time moment presented by Miller Lite.
Well, if you watch Mike Leake through the first time through the lineup, he worked most of the hitters away. And as you saw with Billy Hamilton there, he worked him inside that go round. We'll see how he approaches Jesse Winker here. Came in with that first pitch. First, Leake tried to sink the ball away from Winker in his first at bat, and he hit it right back up the middle.
Winker really had an impressive series. The Reds winning 2 out of 3 there in Pittsburgh. Could have had 3 home runs, had 1 taken away on a leaping grab up and over the wall and left by Starling Marte. He hit the go-ahead home run in the second game of the series to snap a 2-2 tie and made 2 dazzling plays out in right field. This one rolled to the second baseman, 2 out. And this is a golden opportunity for Winker. You know, unfortunately, Scott Schebler injures his shoulder. He goes on the disabled list, and that means at least a couple of weeks plus worth of starts now for Winker.
Look, if you're a young player within the Reds organization, especially from AA, AAA, and the big leagues, when your time is done and baseball's over, you'll never be able to say I didn't have a chance, because everybody's got a chance. And if you don't make it, it's your own fault. Don't blame anybody else.
And never more so than the starting rotation. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there have been. I mean, obviously, baseball been around a long, long time, but I don't know if I've ever seen a rotation where more young pitchers have been given a chance going all the way back to spring training after the initial diagnosis of injuries to Bailey and DeSclafani, like this Reds team this year. So Leake retires his side in order. He's set down now 8 in a row. And it's a 1-1 game as we go to the 4th.
Wojciechowski, but with a name like that, he's been dealing with it all his life.
Just something I'm used to. Growing up, going to school, and whenever new teacher came in and they take roll, I would always just get used to whenever they would stare at the paper too long, I would just raise my hand and let them know I was there. So it's just something I'm used to. It's kind of my whole life. It's a tough name to pronounce, and when you look at it, it's even tougher to spell.
Yeah, imagine that in grade school. You got to wait till the end too. They go alphabetical.
So your W, you got to wait to the end, and then they look down and see that, and he just raises his hand.
Oh yeah,
I'm here.
Well, that is great stuff, Jim Day. Thank you very much. For those of you that missed the attempt at spelling attempts plural Wojciechowski's last name, that was good stuff. Pulled foul on a pitch and ran in on Piscotty. 1-1 game as we open the 4th inning. Straight up in the air. Another good breaking ball there from Wojo. GENNETT will make the catch. You know, it appears early on, and you pointed it out as far as the sunshine was concerned, which is not a factor now any longer as the sun continues to fade into the western sky. But, you know, when you look at the flags, they've really varied. And it almost appears as though when the ball gets higher up into the air, there must be a lot more wind up there than perhaps we think. Because there's not been an easy pop-up to handle by either side so far in this game tonight.
Now, even a ball that appeared to be routine earlier, it really took a full effort from Piscotty and a couple of different angles to finally run it down.
Oh, and 1 the count. And that one nearly hit Carson Kelly. It does not.
If you're Asher Wojciechowski, when you do miss, you miss close to the batter, you miss in off the plate. Even when you spin a breaking ball up there, it looks like it's going to be coming in on a right-handed batter. That effective wildness, however you want to describe it, he's got it working for him right now. The hitter doesn't know that you didn't mean to miss in there.
Straight away center field. See if Billy handles this one with no problems. He will. 2 up and 2 down. Kroger and the Reds are proud to team up to offer you a great value again this year. It's called the Kroger Meal Deal. Just check out concession stands around the ballpark. It includes a hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Oreo and Ritz Crisp and Thins. It's all for $9. Make sure to check out the Kroger Meal Deal your next trip to Great American Ballpark.
That's a tongue twister.
Boy, no kidding. I heard my dad reading that on the air last night, and as soon as I saw it tonight, I'm like, I gotta handle it like the old timer. He was all over it.
Ritz Crisp
Thins. Ritz Crisp Thins.
I'll let you handle that part.
1-0 to Colton. You know, now here's a guy to me, Cowboy, that I think is an interesting guy. He's had good moments in the big leagues. He has had very mediocre moments in the major leagues. He's been sent back down to the minor leagues.
He's had some vocal moments.
Yes. But I tell you, this guy's been blessed with a lot of talent. I'm just wondering what his future is. What do you think?
I think he can hit. We know he can run. The question for me with Colton Wong is consistency fielding the ball at second base. As you mentioned earlier, he's got a good arm. I think he's fine as far as throwing the ball. But if you're going to play second, short, and center field, you got to catch the baseball. This is the big leagues. It's not minor leagues. It's not development. You got to catch the baseball.
Young man who grew up in Hawaii. Baseball and track star. Can really run. Just a great athlete. And it looked like he was on his way to being a really good everyday major league player. And the last year and a half has just not gone that direction.
Well, I think part of it was inconsistencies at second base. These are your best fielders, short, second, and center field. They get the most chances. They've got to be the ones with the most range and be able to go get the baseball. And when you don't do that, all of a sudden it puts more pressure on you as a hitter to perform, because you want to make up for missing a baseball here or there, or maybe not making a play you're supposed to make. And all of a sudden, okay, well, I'm not catching it. I'm not getting on base. I can't use my speed because I'm not hitting.
His on-base percentage in far less playing time is way up. But last year was a severe step backwards for Wall. 3-2 the count on the Cardinals' second baseman. Yeah, it looked like he went around. He did, and that'll end the inning. So Wojciechowski bounces back after giving up a run in the third with a perfect fourth. We're tied at 1. Health initiative, which provides in-home care for those affected by Lou Gehrig's disease. Go to MLB.com/for Pete's sake to learn more. Of course, that all got started for Pete's sake in the Ice Bucket Challenge in 2014. In 6 weeks, raising $115,000. Fans are encouraged to use any money you're able to donate to the cause. Again, MLB.com/for Pete's sake. Swinging a foul ball back out of play. It is 0-2. One out of Duvall in a 1-1 game. Bottom of the fourth inning. Game 1 of 3. Reds and the Cardinals. Boy, the seats continue to fill more and more and more as the night goes on. Perhaps some late arriving fans knowing it could be a long night. You got a baseball game. Cardinals played a 2-1 game yesterday that took 3 hours and 24 minutes. 2-1 game. But you have the ball game here tonight. We have the regular Friday fireworks, which are just off the charts if you've never been here for them. And that's every Friday night the entire year. And then tonight, Flow Rider. And there are a lot of folks that are here tonight yet to enjoy a ball game, but there are a lot of them to see Flow Rider, including the Cowboy. Well, the guy that just can't stop talking about it, though, I mean, is Jim Kelch. Breaking ball down and away. It is interesting, though. I was talking to a friend of mine who used to run the Phoenix Open for the last couple of years, and this was the first year in the last 3 years he did not run the Phoenix Open. And for those of you that don't know, they have a musical act, a big name act, every night of the week during the tournament out there in Arizona. This ball into right field. It'll be caught short of the track by Piscotty. And I was talking with him last week and asked him how the Open went this year, and he didn't have to worry about all the headaches and what was good, what was bad. He said, you know, he had a great time. And I said, well, who are your musical acts this year? He said, well, our big musical act on Saturday night was Toby Keith. I said, okay.
I like that.
That's big time act. He said, but I got to tell you, he said, over the last 5, 6, 7 years, he said, no one has captured the audience and been more fun to watch. And he said, have you ever heard of Flo Rida? And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He's playing at the ballpark when we get back off this road trip. He said, well, I think for those that come, they're going to love it, because he puts on apparently a great show. We'll find out tonight. So you can stick around right here and watch from the booth. It's a great venue here. They'll be playing right out at second base.
I'll be on the way to my house. How do you like me?
It's strike 3 to GENNETT. It's a second strikeout of the game for Mike Lee.
You all right?
That's good. That's really good.
Sidearm, two-seam fastball. Hey, as Leake has gotten older, it just seems like he's become craftier. Different arm angles, still using the same grips on the pitches.
Well, I mean, he was joined at the hip from the master of crafty.
There he is, over there in that first base dugout of Bronson Arroyo.
I mean, they were like a big brother, little brother.
I could still remember a conversation with Leake and Arroyo. They were talking about one-seam fastballs. And I'm like, what? Oh, you hear two-seam, four-seam. They're talking about one-seam fastball because of the way that they throw the ball with that low three-quarter delivery and trying to get the ball to have that one-seam rotation and ball sink as it got to the plate.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, neither had I.
Well, I know you did, but I mean, you just bringing it up.
One-seam fastball.
Swinging is Suarez, and that's all for the Reds. Leake is on quite a roll. That's 11 in a row. He is set down. We're tied at 1. By Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford. Go further. We always send a special hello to those watching at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. Hoping you've had a good day today and pray for an even better one tomorrow. Randall Grichuk to lead things off in a 1-1 game in the St. Louis 5th inning. Grichuk struck out his first time up. A triple and really a ground ball that should have been an out. It was scored an infield hit by the pitcher Leak. The only run for the Cardinals, that coming in the third after the Reds scored in the first inning on an RBI double by Joey Votto.
Well, Grichuk is a dead fastball hitter, likes the ball close to him, and now you're in a fastball count after slider changeup out of the strike zone.
The count, and he misses on 4 straight to start the 5th. Big story earlier today at Wrigley Field with a wind, a gale blowing out to right, and taking advantage of that, the left-handed batting Daniel Murphy. What a year he's having. He hit a pair of long ones today. This one to left center. In a 4-2 Washington win. You know, the Cubs are, what a perplexing team. Just when you think they're going to kick it into another gear, and it looked that way immediately after the All-Star break, you know, all of a sudden Arizona rolls in there, beats them a couple of times. Now they lose today to Washington. Hard to figure. Addison Russell, by the way, just placed on the disabled list for the Chicago Cubs. That's a big hit for their team. Reds will see those Cubbies at the conclusion of this homestand. The Reds will go on another. I mean, they're just coming off 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning this morning, getting in from Pittsburgh. By the time they got back home and got to bed, you know, 11 days, 4 cities. There you see the standings in the Central. Milwaukee getting these Cardinals 2 of the last 3 to draw within a game. But you know, the Reds will be home for 7 days, and then they're gone again. 3 cities again. They go Milwaukee for 3, Chicago for 4, and then Atlanta for 3. It's a lot of travel. And now all of a sudden, Wojciechowski having a hard time finding the plate.
Now this is where reliever starter comes in hand. You're facing the club for now, really getting to the bottom of the order the second time through, but the pitch count is starting to elevate. You're not going to throw 75, 80 pitches really out of the bullpen. So this is where you have to pitch a little bit. You've got to use your breaking ball and your changeup within the strike zone and try to get some easy outs.
Wojciechowski coming off a 1-2-3 4th inning. 2-2 now on Garcia.
This is where as a starter time where you feel tired. You can start to feel a little bit on the mound because your arm doesn't quite get through the ball. Your hand doesn't quite have the speed on the breaking ball. So you've got to settle back a little bit. All right. Not everything is max effort at this point like it was back in the 1st and 2nd inning.
Leadoff man aboard, 2-2 to count on Garcia. In a 1-1 game here in the 5th. The breaking ball there. That walk, by the way, that is the first walk given up by Wojciechowski. That is the one thing this young man has done. He has thrown strikes. In what now almost 40 innings of work, he's only walked 9 batters. It's not bad. He just threw that one right by. It only clocked at 92, but that looked like a hard 92. Does that sound silly?
Wojciechowski has the ability to take the ball up in the strike zone. You see the 4-seam fastball here that followed a breaking ball that was backdoor. He throws the fastball on the same plane as the previous pitch. Hitter sees it, doesn't quite recognize it until the last second. You swing underneath it.
Mike Leake knocked in the only Cardinal run of the game with an infield hit in the third inning. That was after a triple start of the inning by the man who just struck out Garcia. And Leake pops it in the air. Leake has not been a good bunter this season. He only has 3 sacrifices the entire year. And we mentioned he only has 7 hits all year.
But you just don't see that too often. At least we didn't in a Reds uniform. Got underneath the ball, dropped his back elbow a little bit, let the bat head drop, pops it straight up.
All right, so now Carpenter for the 3rd time in the game. 0 for 2 so far, is popped up and flied out. It is just so strange to see the struggles of this Cardinal team. They are on pace this year to set a franchise record for what would be the 3rd consecutive season for strikeouts in a season. They don't hit home runs anymore, you know, for years and years and years, going all the way back to the former Red Ron Gant back in the middle of their order in the, you know, the mid 1990s after he left the Reds. And then, you know, of course, the years of big Mark McGwire. And then they had guys like Matt Holliday, and they had Lance Berkman and Carlos Beltran. Albert Pujols, of course, the headline act through most of those years. But now all of a sudden, with no Holliday around, it's not to say there aren't guys in this lineup that can't hit a home run, but there's not a legitimate home run hitter in this lineup, even when Yadier Molina's playing.
Well, I think when you look at the Cardinal lineup, it's in a bit of transition. You start to see some younger names. Now, granted, they've got some veterans that are still mixed within. But I think it just takes a while, whether you're a starting pitcher and a young guy for the Reds, or whether you're a young position player for the Cardinals. It just takes a little while to get your bearings and start to get comfortable up here.
One and one on Carpenter. A little bit low. Now, you know, in fairness, when you're trying to evaluate your team, you look at a guy like Piscotty. We started to talk about him earlier. Last year, guy hits 22 home runs for you. You're thinking, all right, here's a young guy getting his bearings about him, right? Feet on the ground.
The key is continuing to adjust, whether you're a pitcher or hitter, because everyone is going to adjust to you as you have success. The better you do, the tougher pitches you're going to see.
Off on a play third base side, 2-2 on Carpenter.
You can watch this every time Joey Votto comes to the plate, and I don't care if it's a rookie on the mound or if it's Clayton Kershaw or Max Scherzer. 92, 93 to the batter before Votto. Votto steps in there, 97, 98. Nobody wants to get embarrassed. You see better at bats against tougher pitchers because you don't want to get embarrassed as a hitter. And as a pitcher, when you've got a good batter at the plate, you turn it up. You can go home in AAA 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Nobody cares. Here, they're going to be talking about you on Twitter and Instagram and everything else. Did you see those 4 strikeouts?
Swing and a miss. Boy, that was a nasty breaking ball right there from Wojo.
Fooled him not only with the pitch action, but fooled him in his head.
5 innings of 1-run baseball. Young man's pitching a good game.
For every Reds game, it's Reds Live, the pregame edition. As always, brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. 6:30 for Reds Live tomorrow. Normal game time, 7:10 start from Great American. And in game 2 of this 3-game set, it will be a premier pitching matchup. Love when Luis Castillo goes to the hill. He put it all together last time out. Lance Lynn on the hill for the Cardinals.
Jose Peraza banks one into center field, a base hit. So that's the first Reds base runner since Adam Duvall's single into right field. A little blooper back in the first inning. Good way to get it started here in the 5th. Mike Leake is used to pitching in these kinds of games. What with the problems the Cardinals have had offensively this year, here he's locked up in a 1-1 game. You know, it got so bad or so quote unquote desperate yesterday in the rubber game of the series between the Cardinals and the Brewers that Mike Matheny took his starter out of the game after 4 innings and pinch hit for the pitcher Michael Wacha because he felt like it was a chance in the game to get a lot of runs, and this one hooked into right field. So the first 2 on here in the Reds' 5th in a tie game. Arismendi Alcantara will come up and bat for the pitcher Asher Wojciechowski. Boy, I tell you, he might have only pitched 5 innings tonight, but considering it's his first time going back in the rotation, he's pitched well enough to get a win here tonight. Let's see if the Reds can't take the lead for him. 78 pitches. He allowed 3 hits and 1 run.
You almost wonder if Alcantara is not brought to the plate to bunt the runners over here.
You would think. He does not have a sacrifice all year. Ball 1 outside. Now, does that mean Alcantara can't bunt? Of course that doesn't mean he can't bunt. Maybe he's just not been asked to bunt.
Well, you're left-handed here. You bunt the ball hard at the third baseman, make Garcia come get the baseball, vacate third. That's the easiest bunt that's available. But you can't run and bunt.
Alcantara did not have a single sacrifice with Oakland last year, but that's not to say that he was ever asked in Oakland. I mean, they just completely have disavowed the bunt for many, many years. In fact, it cost him a couple of trips to the World Series, the Oakland A's. And I called those series, believe me. Perfect putt. You can't do it any better than that.
Right on the money. Caught it right off the end of the bat. The end of the bat deadens the baseball. That way you don't have to be so perfect with your directionality of the baseball. Just bunt it right down in front of home plate. You killed it with the end of the bat. There's no play at third. Now you've got a chance to really do some damage against Leake here and give yourself a little bit of breathing room.
All right, now Billy a chance to give the Reds a lead. That one down around his feet. Hamilton has only seen 3 pitches. That would be a 4th in his at-bats against Leake so far. He's 0 for 2 with a pair of groundouts. One to short, the other to first. Now, ground ball to third to first. If the runner goes, the throw's coming to the plate. A ball back up through the middle, they'll concede the run. Although I got to tell you, looking at that very, very, very tentative lead by Peraza down at third. I don't know if I've ever seen that short of a lead for a runner at third base, especially for a guy who can run.
Well, it almost looked as though Billy Hatcher whispered into Peraza's ear, hey, he'll pick to third base. Because that's what it appears Peraza's looking for, is for Garcia to break to the bag. He keeps looking back and forth. Now, Garcia's playing awfully close.
There's a base hit into right field and a score run. Here comes Barnhart, and the throw to the plate is in time to get it.
No. Home plate umpire Brian Knight not in a real good position to make that call. I got to believe the Reds will challenge this. He's safe. Throw on the first base dugout side of the plate. And you can see where the home plate umpire was set up. He was set up on the first base side, trying to look back into the plate. And because the throw was on the first base dugout side, it almost blocked out home plate umpire Brian Knight from being able to make the call. You could see the catcher slide right in front of him. Bang, bang at the plate. I think the Reds are going to win this one.
Well, they're taking a look, and it's the difference between a one-run single and a two-run single.
The base hit by Hamilton just out of the reach of a diving Matt Carpenter, and the same for Colton Wong. It looked like either one of those guys was going to come up with a baseball, and neither could get the glove to it. I mean, even if you knock that ball down as a first baseman or a second baseman, Billy Hatcher can't send the runner home. But if the ball gets through clean, windmill him.
Well, that's a clutch base hit right there by Billy Hamilton. I mean, he didn't hit it all that hard, but the bottom line is he found a hole. And now the only question is it a two-run hit or a one-run single?
Well, we have every evaluation process available today as far as how hard you hit the ball. In that instance, all that matters is that you got the job done. Get them home, son. I don't care how you do it.
Well, we are still waiting. The last one, which appeared to be a no-brainer, took 2 minutes and 15 seconds. This one has boat raced that one. Well, there's got to be a better way. This is something that baseball has always been open and said, hey, it's a fluid situation. We'll work on it. The runner, they still say, is out.
Wow. Well, I think that's a terrible call. Of course, if you're Brian Price, there's nothing you can do about it.
Nope. All right, well, the bottom line is you have a 2-1 lead. Tucker cannot believe it. The play at the plate stands. And give Stephen Piscotty the putout from right field. Hamilton, 44 stolen bases, has been thrown out just 7 times. And his 27 stolen bases against St. Louis in his career, the most among all active players.
You know, the way that was announced over the intercom here, it was about the collision rule. I hope that the Reds were not challenging the collision rule there, and they were challenging the fact that the runner was safe at the plate. That'll be interesting to note.
Boy, that's a great point.
Because if you're challenging the collision rule, the catcher would have had, you have to prove that he was blocking the play. He wasn't even close
before
to
he had the ball.
Yeah, he wasn't even close to that.
Right.
So if the Reds challenge the right thing there.
But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Cowboy, the way the replay is designed is that they can still overrule a call on out or safe while they're looking. If you did challenge collision, that they can still say, okay, it wasn't collision, but the runner was safe, and so we're going to change that part of it. But all the angles we saw are great camera crew, as we have every night here at Great American Ballpark. Go back with many of these guys on his crew back to the late 1980s. They've been at it a long time. All over it. 0-1 on Winker. 1 of 2 in a game. And now 2 of 3 in a game. This will send Hamilton to third. And my, oh my, where would you be now? You'd be talking about a potential huge inning. Not to say it still can't happen with 2 out and Votto coming up.
Well, I think if you're Billy Hatcher, because of the way that the ball was hit, it was not smoked into right field. Even though you had a catcher at second base running, it was about a 45 hopper through the infield. Even though Piscotty's got a decent arm, you still send the runner. By the time Piscotty got the baseball, the runner was already rounding third, heading for home. Scotty made a decent throw. I didn't think they got the call right myself.
All right, now Votto. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Joey an RBI double and a fly ball to center. Strike 1.
This is one of those spots for Mike Leake where you win or lose a ball game.
Side with a long way to go. Another RBI base hit by Votto will score Hamilton. On to third goes Winker, and the Reds extend the lead 3-1.
You talked about it earlier, Tom, about how well Votto is hitting the ball as of late. I mean, he just smoked that ball, and that's a pitch that you and I were talking about earlier. You try to get the ball in on Votto, and if you don't make the perfect pitch, it runs back over the plate. Hammer City.
All right, so this inning continues now. Reds have 5 hits in this inning, and were it not for a controversial call made at home plate, they'd have another run in this inning with still only 1 out. Instead, 2 on with 2 out. Duvall has looped a single into right and flied out to right. High fly ball, should in the inning. But the Reds break a 1-1 tie. Run scoring hits by Billy and Joey. End of 5. 3-1 Reds.
Wojciechowski coming out of the bullpen. Had the breaking ball working early, but the big key for Wojciechowski, I thought, early in this ball game was that high riding fastball. And he got the Cardinals spinning, he got them chasing, and once you're chasing that high riding heater, you can't catch up with the breaking ball, as we saw with Matt Carpenter in that 5th and final strikeout.
All right, so those are the numbers on Wojciechowski. His team has given him the lead, so despite the fact that the Reds bullpen needs to record 16 outs in this game, he's in line for a potential win, and it starts with Drew Storen. Storen's had a nice bounce back year after starting his career in grand style with the Nationals, former #1 pick out of Stanford, Indianapolis, Indiana native.
It's not always easy to recreate yourself as a pitcher, especially a guy that was a hard-throwing fastball slider closer, as Drew Storen was when he first got to the big leagues with the Washington Nationals. He's lowered the arm angle a little bit, a little more sinker slider, if you will, and he's added the changeup to go with it.
There's that slider down and away, a check swing and a miss by Pham, and that's a good start to the inning.
You start the fastball in the middle and run it in. You can start the breaking ball in the middle and break it away. That's what Storen does here, and that's really where Storen's game plan is. He wants to start the ball in the middle, make you think that's a pitch you want to hit, get it in on your hands, make you aware of the fastball in, then he can start the breaking ball in the same spot, and you run out of bat. How'd you like to be Tucker Barnhart and Drew Storen's high school coach, and you watch this battery every few days? Got to make you feel pretty good.
Well, and the guy in the other dugout who's going to be pitching tomorrow night from the same high school.
Lance Lynn.
Lance Lynn. Lance Lynn's had a nice career. He has been a good pitcher for a long time. I mean, he's had a really nice career.
He can pitch.
He can pitch. And when you talk to more and more people that spend time around this Cardinal franchise, they will tell you, you know, while Molina and Wainwright get a lot of the pub as a quote unquote, you know, kind of leaders or faces of the franchise, there are many that will tell you no one commands more respect for the way he carries himself and the way he demands the best from others on his team than does Lance Lynn.
I guess the best way to describe Lance Lynn, and at least this is the way I would take it if I was a player, he's a gamer. I think that's the highest compliment you could give anybody that stands out in a professional uniform in any sport. If you're a gamer, you got what it takes to compete when the chips are down.
Yep. And Lance Lynn in his career hooked into left field, a base hit by DeYoung. Over to cut it off Duvall, and that's a nice job by Adam to hold DeYoung to a one-out single. But Lance Lynn in his career is 25 games over 500 and closing in on 175 career starts, a career ERA of 3.34. That's mighty good.
And this is also a guy during that run has come back from Tommy John surgery.
That's right. But I tell you what, he was a quote unquote whipping boy for the Cardinal fans for a number of years. You know, for at times not pitching deep enough into games, at other times Cowboys some moments in the postseason, you know, things like that. I tell you what, sign me up for a guy who makes 175 starts for you, who's 25 games over 500 with an ERA at 3.3. He can pitch for my team any day. Down to third. There's one, and that's a double play. Off the bat of Piscotty. So Storin allows a hit, no runs. Middle of the sixth. The Reds lead the Cardinals by 2.
Package for as low as $25. You get a Reds ticket and a limited edition, he said. Game of Thrones bobblehead. Purchase Game of Thrones ticket package. Reds.com/themes. Tell you what, this is a big week in Cincinnati. The RBI World Series, reviving baseball in the inner cities. The Reds, for the second straight year, hosting that World Series. Before the game, they had a parade of all the participants. And kudos to everyone that put on this event here at Great American Ballpark, as well as the Urban Youth Academy. Reds team qualified for the championships, although they were eliminated today with a loss to Puerto Rico. And tomorrow in the championships, it will be Chicago, Hilo of Hawaii, Philadelphia, and Patterson, New Jersey to play in the championships tomorrow at the Urban Youth Academy.
One gone off the bat, a roller by GENNETT. So that's the baseball championships this week. The girls have the softball championships next week right here in Cincinnati. I mean, make no mistake about it, and they all do an incredible job. But of the dozen or fewer cities in this country that has an urban youth academy like we have here in Cincinnati, Cincinnati's is the crown jewel of all of those across America. That's why they're playing the World Series here every year. I mean, that could be in any one of, like I said, nearly a dozen cities. And we have them right here for both the baseball and the softball. What a place it is. Doing great work on and off the field. First pitch swinging down the right field line by Peraza, and that's out of play. Well, that was nearly a big time play by that guy. He got the ball, but I mean, he was going to get it down there. See the numbers on Link. Look at the number of pitches. Only 2 innings. More than 15. About to throw just his 7th pitch in this 6th. 0-1 on Peraza. Now Peraza was a guy who got the party started in the last inning. Lincoln retired 11 straight before Peraza led off the 5th with a single to center, and he scored the first of the 2 runs in the inning to break the 1-1 tie. Mike Leake has never beaten the Reds. He's made 7 starts against them since leaving Cincinnati in that trade to the Giants 3 years ago. His personal record is 0-4. His team's record is 0-7. That ball in the air to right center field. And Piscotty waves off Pham, and that's all for the Reds. They go 1-2-3. And we go to the 7th. Reds 3, Cardinals 1.
Lead. Jesse Winker scores from first base, running through a stop sign off the bat of Joey Votto. 1-0 Cincinnati. Cardinals tied it up in the 3rd. Man on 3rd. Mike Leake at the plate, grounder. Peraza hesitates, doesn't get anyone out. We're tied up at 1, but the 5th inning, the Reds put 2 on the board. Could have been 3. 2nd and 3rd, Hamilton single, 1-run scores. Piscotty would gun down Tucker Barnhart at the plate, which has become a controversial play in this game. Talk about that in just a second. But a single later, Votto pulls 1. Hamilton scores. 3-1. Reds lead. Further clarification on that replay of Tucker Barnhart being thrown out. They actually replayed 2 parts of that. And on the scoreboard, they put confirmed, which is much different than the call stands. The confirmed part was the collision rule that you guys talked about, the home plate collision rule. They ruled that he indeed did not violate that, so that was confirmed. On the tag play, the official decision, that call stands. After viewing all relevant angles, the replay official could not definitely determine that the runner touched home prior to the fielder applying the tag. So that part of it stood, which is much different than confirming it.
All right, thank you very much, Jim Day, for that clarification. Drew Storen, meanwhile, begins his 2nd inning of work. We're in the top of the 7th with the Reds leading St. Louis 3-1. Bouncing ball. What a pick by Suarez, and the throw is out. That is not an easy play right there.
You know, I know how well Suarez has done at third base, and the Reds have asked him to make a big transition moving to third. And here in 2017, he's played Gold Glove defense. But the key for me is, would they ever think about moving him back to shortstop with Nick Senzel on the horizon?
Hey, no one, like you said, Cozart's a free agent. And Storen acknowledging the work of Suarez, and that's all for Storen. He goes an inning and a third of 1-hit shutout baseball. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen brings on the left-hander Wandy Peralta. We're back in a moment. Dodgers take on Cespedes and the Mets. That starts Saturday at 3 Eastern at FS1, streaming on Fox Sports Go. How about the Dodgers? The best team in baseball so far this year. And then the trade deadline, I mean, among others, they acquire Yu Darvish. It's pretty good.
Not a big believer that one guy can change your entire club. But since Cody Bellinger's been playing first base, the Dodgers have been awfully good.
They've been beyond that. I mean, they've been historically good. What was that note we had a couple of weeks ago? As Peralta, that ball hits a bag. That would have been a hit all the way. Peralta's not going to get, or Peraza's not going to get to that ball to throw out Colton Wong. So that's a base hit by Wong, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate. So now it'll be Randall Grichuk. But just to finish that thought a minute, we had a note a couple of weeks ago when the Dodgers had won 30 of 34 games. That was the first time that had happened since the New York Giants back in the 1920s. Here's Grichuk. In fact, they're one of 3 teams ever, are the Dodgers right now, where they have gone 40-6. I mean, imagine that for a minute. Only 3 teams have ever had a stretch where in 46 games they won 40 of them.
What amazes me about that is the fact that Arizona and Colorado are your wild card teams, and they're playing in the same division.
And
so that ought to tell you what the Dodgers have done. It's not as though they've done it just beating up on a bunch of Sallies. I mean, they've been walking the dog.
Straight up in the air. And that's out number 2. If a Red hits a home run tonight off that Toyota sign out in right center field, Robert Helton of Trenton, Ohio, will win that beautiful tunnel. And you can register for your chance to win. Stop by your Cincinnati and/or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. All right, 2 away. And now the Cardinals will go to their bench. And they will bring up Jose Martinez to bat for Garcia.
Now Martinez has big power, but he also has a whole lot of swing and miss in him.
And out trots Matt Jenkins. You're wondering about the numbers for Martinez. He has 7 home runs and 139 at bats. 2 of those 7 home runs have been as a pinch hitter. Well, look at the colors in the sky right now. Just to get away action briefly, this is just an incredibly beautiful night. It's almost fall-like here tonight. And we're a long way from that here the first week of August. But my, what a beautiful night. All right, Martinez settles in from the right side against a left-hander, Peralta. Ball and a strike.
This is really a point in time in the ball game, and it really started when Drew Storen came in, where Brian Price is trying to get 3 innings, well, really 4 innings out of 4 guys. You got Storen, Peralta, Lorenzen, Iglesias. That's where you're trying to finish the ball game.
More than 1 strike on Martinez. This big strong man here.
He's not up there to walk.
No.
Look at him flip that bat around.
He's trying to tie this baby up with one swing of that bat. Chase ball 3 there.
Well, this is the type of hitter where you make the pitch look like a strike, but yet as the ball gets to the plate, it's not a strike. Fastball up and away. For a wild swinger, it looks like it's right down Broadway.
Well, you have the pitcher spot due up next, and obviously the pitcher's not going to hit. That's Jed Jerko down there. I believe that's who it is in the on-deck circle. And Peralta would like to leave him right there. See if he can put away Martinez. He does. Oh, they called it ball 4. Apparently a little bit low. So it will be Jerko. Now here's a guy that can really hurt you. And apparently another pitching change is coming.
Lorenzen.
All right, so Peralta allows a hit, retires a batter, and then issues a walk to the pinch hitter, which puts the tying run aboard and brings the go-ahead run to the plate. Open gate, exit Peralta, enter Lorenzen. Back in a moment. And the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Cincinnati will have their 3rd annual Sand Volleyball Classic Saturday, April the 12th. That's next weekend, a week from tomorrow. Co-ed teams of 8 are welcome to come out, compete for a great cause. Register today at bgcgc.org. All right, big moment in the game here now, Cowboy. Lorenzen in with 2 on and 2 out. Reds lead by 2.
Power pitcher against a power hitter. There is only one thing on Jed Jerko's mind, and that's not flipping a ball to right field. He's trying to hit one in the seats.
I mean, this is where the Cardinals are pulling out all the stops. I mean, you can see it right here. This is their main weapon off the bench outside of Molina tonight. Has a 14 home runs. And, you know, we talked about yesterday Mike Matheny taking his pitcher out of the game when he had the bases loaded after the starter had worked just 4 innings and allowed only 1 run because his team so frequently are in positions where they don't have guys on base or a chance to score runs.
But every big league team is at their most vulnerable position when they're going from starter to the bullpen around the 6th and the 7th inning. You've got guys coming out of the bullpen. They may not be the closer, but they're not a starter either. And your starter's getting tired. You're going to maybe your 7th or 8th guy on your staff. It's That's why Matheny does what he does there in the 5th and the 6th innings. He's trying to get to that point where he can give his hitters the best chance. Doesn't always work out, obviously.
Yesterday, when he made that change, the pinch hitter he sent up hit into a double play with the bases loaded. And Waka was out of the game after 4 innings. 1-2 pitch coming to Jerko from Lorenzen. Now remember, Lorenzen's last outing a couple of nights ago, that's when the Reds took Robert Stevenson out of the game. And Lorenzen came in and promptly gave up the lead. Or allowed the Pirates, I should say, to tie the game. The Reds would win that game on the Winker home run. And a swing and a miss. That's all for Jerko and the Cardinals in a 7th. A hit, 2 left. Reds use 3 pitchers to get 3 outs and still lead by 2.
It's on Friday nights when there's fireworks or a concert. A lot of the players like to get out of here early to beat the traffic. Tucker Barnhart will not be one of them tonight. He, well, his wife, in fact, Sierra, loves Flo Rida. And even though Tucker Barnhart said he can't name a single song that he sings, he's staying to watch the concert, so he will not be leaving. You know the old saying, happy wife, happy life.
Brett Cecil is in the ball game. First pitch catches the outside corner.
See, Jerko takes over at third base. And Zach Duke takes over on the hill. I thought it was that was my fault, Cowboy. Cecil. I told you, Cecil, that's my fault. That's Zach Duke out there. It's his 5th game. It's another guy who, there's a liner right at the shortstop, who really changed his entire career, Cowboy. You know, you talked earlier about you know, guys that go from starter to reliever or reliever to starter. I mean, there were a number of years, and he's been a reliever so long now, there are a lot of people that don't even remember when he was a regular starter.
And another guy coming back from Tommy John as well. I think you look back at Zach Duke's career, especially coming up with Pittsburgh. He was a starter for the longest time. Once he made that transition with the Reds to come out of the bullpen, got that big contract with the White Sox, he's been awfully good, especially coming in situations where he's facing lefties alone. But with a changeup and that backdoor breaking ball and the ability to drop sidearm, he's gotten right-handers out as well.
0-1 the count on Lorenzen, who will just stay on to bat because it looks like tonight, you know, Lorenzen only got that final out in the 7th, so they'll just have him take the ball in the 8th. Wong throws out Lorenzen for the second out of the inning. So you're not going to ask Iglesias again tonight. You know, he might give you an inning and a third if they have to, but at least the game plan would be to get Lorenzen 1, 2, 3 in the eighth and give it to Rysell in the ninth.
Well, you have the benefit with an arm like Lorenzen and Iglesias. We saw Iglesias the other night with a 2-inning save. You know that both of those guys can give you 2 innings without having to worry about it, because you plan that out over the season. We've seen Lorenzen come in the 4th inning, pitch 3 innings. We've seen Iglesias come in and pitch 2 innings, 8 and 9.
Billy with a base hit into center field. Boy, the havoc that guy. I mean, you know, most of the time a ball bounces into center field, and we sit right behind the plate. So your peripheral vision of all the players on the field, we're so blessed to have this seat every day wherever we go. But look at the mayhem. And it's hard to capture it here on a replay, but normally the ball would go into center and everybody kind of stands around it. But with Hamilton, look, now Wong is pointing to second base. The shortstop can't get back to the bag because he's gone up the middle. They're looking at the third baseman to come over at second because Hamilton's thinking about going to second base.
Well, if you think back a couple of years ago, Hamilton tagged on a pop-up to the second baseman against Colton Wong against these Cardinals.
Well, they have the last lap because they pick off Billy. Ends up as a caught stealing. It goes 1-3-6 to end the inning. All right, we're off to the 8th. Reds lead 3-1.
Anthony DeSclafani left after only 23 pitches, gave up 3 home runs, 8 earned runs, left with the trainer, was examined today, and the Reds got as good a news as possible. Here's Anthony.
There's nothing to the UCL from what they could tell, which is pretty good news. I think that was best case scenario, that the UCL looked the same, and you know, just inflammation. So I guess the plan is right now, just take a few days. Hopefully the pain subsides, and you know, I could start throwing here pretty shortly.
Inflammation in that elbow, and as he said, the UCL, the ulnar collateral ligament, looked the same. That's the ligament that they have Tommy John surgery on, so immediate concern once elbow injury occurs or discomfort, but we'll see what happens. But as good a news as they possibly could have gotten today.
You know, you could tell. I was down in the clubhouse today and spoke with Anthony for just a couple of minutes. He had just come into the clubhouse after being examined by Dr. Timothy Kremchek, and you know, look, you could see it on his face. You don't even need me to tell you. He knows he got the best possible news, but he is really frustrated. I mean, he's not thrown a pitch for the major league club this entire year, and Anthony DeSclafani wants the ball.
Yeah, I definitely think DeSclafani wants to get back to the mound. That's the problem that you have when you're throwing on flat ground and even in a bullpen. Once you get that adrenaline of competitiveness in the ball game, it's a whole different category on your arm.
Well, that's a nice play right there made by Votto to his right. And that takes care of Carpenter for the all-important leadoff man with a 2-run lead in the 8th. All right, so one away now for Pham, who's been on base twice, hit by a pitch, had a single to left, and then struck out his last time up against Story. Strike one from Lorenzen. Balls and 2 strikes now on Pham. Iglesias is throwing in the Reds bullpen. But so far so good for Lorenzen. Struck out the only batter he faced, stranding 2 in the 7th. And now ahead 0-2 with 1 out here in the 8th.
You see Lorenzen tonight, it looks like he's made a little bit of adjustment mechanically. When you see him take the step back, instead of that spin that he turns back towards second base. Before, he was spinning and coming to the plate at the same time. Now he's turning and then driving to the plate, and his location seems to be a little bit better here tonight.
You know, I've talked to Chris a lot about it, and it made news about 2 weeks ago now, Cowboy, and you and I have been both kind of in and out of the booth a little bit since then. But you know, apparently the decision has been made that there's a roller and GENNETT dives. Can he get the throw? No, he's not even going to attempt it. That'll be an infield hit, or more than an infield hit. It rolled into the outfield for Pham. But what was your reaction to the decision that's been made where Lorenzen's going to get a chance to start again, at least looking ahead to 2018?
Well, I think the key for Michael is the ability to locate his best pitch. That's his fastball. Now, since he's been in the bullpen, he's been able to throw curveball, that hard cutter, along with the sinking fastball. But the reason that Lorenzen was taken out of the rotation to begin with was arm issue. It was his elbow. And they were worried about the ulnar collateral ligament. So you have to wonder, okay, this guy has really not been a starter in a while.
Peraza can't find the handle, and everybody's safe.
But going back to Lorenzen, the Reds started him in a big league uniform. Now, granted, he started in the minor leagues and did not have any elbow issues. But at the big leagues, when you're max effort for so long, is his arm going to be able to take that? That would be my first question, because he doesn't throw a changeup. Now, he tried to throw one, but we're talking about a guy that is 100% on every pitch. Is the location going to get better on the fastball and the breaking ball? That's my question as a starter, because it has to be.
It's a good breaking ball right there. Piscotty was looking for a first pitch fastball to try and give his team the lead. All of a sudden, a pair of infield hits. And the Cardinals have 2 on, the tying run at first here in the 8th inning. And Lorenzen gets ahead that time with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball in. No balls, 2 strikes.
I think for the Reds, you look at body type. Does Lorenzen have it? Yes, you check that box off. Does he have the arm strength to do it? Does he have the pitches? Yeah, you check out both of those boxes. But I would say the same could be said about Cody Reed, Robert Stevenson. I mean, you go down the line. Those guys have big bodies. They have great stuff. You got to pitch. You have to change speeds within the strike zone, or you're not going to make it up here as a starter.
But would you not agree, before we get to this 0-2 pitch, that of all of the 25 and younger crowd, even though he's done it out of the bullpen, Lorenzen has been by far the most established of that entire crew?
I would definitely give him the shot. I would give him a chance to prepare during the offseason, come to spring training as a starter. You can always go back to the bullpen.
Well, he's got to make a pitch here. He's got 2 more outs to get in this inning. Or he may not. I mean, who knows? Brian may come get him depending on the result of this at bat. He's ahead of Piscotty at 0-2. Iglesias is ready. He's been up this entire inning. Just standing and watching at this point. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 on, 1 out. And here it comes. Breaking ball away. 1-2 on Stephen Piscotty, fellow who hit 22 home runs a year ago for the Cardinals. And very little has gone right for Piscotty here a year later. 6 home runs, 31 batted in, batting average in the 230s. Jam shot. Drive into left center field. It'll be caught out there by Duvall. That ball was not tagged. It carried a little further, and did they get it? They got it! Oh, my goodness! Oh, my goodness! What a play by Adam Duvall to run it down. And then the wherewithal to gun down Pham. Where in the world was he going? And the Cardinals may ask him to take a look at this. Very close. They're going to come take a look at it. Cardinals might get this one back.
Well, either way, whether they ruled safe or out, that was one heck of a play for Adam Duvall. We've already seen on display tonight both Adam Duvall and Billy Hamilton's ability to cut down runners on the base paths. Yeah, they've been doing it to everybody. That play is only made by Duvall because when you watched him catch the baseball, he was thinking about throwing the ball to second base immediately upon the catch. He had his back to second base and threw a strike in the air.
Runner safe at second base. Base running has been another major issue for Mike Matheny's team. I mean, you talk to folks who have seen the Cardinals all year long, their base running has just been abysmal. They've made 80 outs on the base pass this season. That is by far the most in the National League. And to give you an idea, what is the average? The average is 59. The Cardinals have committed 80 outs on the base pass. And it should be noted, the story we told earlier of Yadier Molina, it wasn't enough that he went after his manager a little more than a week ago. A few days ago, he posted again on social media a picture of Jose Oquendo, the former third base coach of the Cardinals, talking about how much the Cardinals missed Oquendo.
Well, their base running has already cost one of their coaches his job this year, actually 2. Bill Miller, who resigned, and Chris Maloney, who was their third base coach.
All right, one more out to go now. Here's Carson Kelly. Big hot shot prospect in the Cardinals organization as a catcher. Runner goes for third. And Suarez just stayed put.
I don't even know if Suarez could have gotten to third base in time. That's a play where the shortstop is in front of the base runner. There's got to be some communication between the shortstop and the guy that's at third base. I don't think Suarez ever even heard that the runner was going.
2-0 now the count on Kelly. Base hit right field. And the Cardinals have drawn within a run. So Lorenzen now for a second straight outing has struggled. Now you can say they had 2 infield hits. They're hits. And it's a one-run game as Iglesias continues to throw. He's ready down in the bullpen. Brian Price is standing 2 steps up from the bottom of the dugout. And now paces back behind those steps as there's a strike to Colton Wong with a tying run now at second base. Oh, 2. And in fairness to Lorenzen, the second infield hit in this inning was a ball juggled by Peraza. If he fields the ball cleanly and gets a force out at second base, that last base hit doesn't mean anything because he never comes to the plate. It was ruled an infield hit. Well, what a block there by Barnhart. One and 2 on Wong.
Oh,
99 just off the inside edge.
The pitcher in me wants that pitch.
We're in the top of the 8th inning. The Reds lead by a run. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. And again missing at 98 off the inside corner. So now the runners get started. Lorenzen's got to make a pitch. Huge moment in the game right here and right now. Runners go 3-2. Throwing the breaking ball on 3 and 2 to load the bases. All right, if you're Brian Price, do you come get him? Or do you leave him out there to face Grichuk? Apparently they're going to stay with him because it's Mac Jenkins who comes trotting out of the dugout.
This is the part when you were asking me earlier, okay, starter or reliever, you still have to be able to throw 2 pitches for a strike as a starter, much less as a guy coming out of the bullpen. The more crucial the situation, the more difficult it is to throw a secondary pitch for a strike, as we saw there. That's a 3-2 pitch. Ball just comes out of the hand too early because you're trying to throw it for a strike, but you don't have quite the release point. And I think this is as much for really a mental boost for Michael Lorenzen, because the last couple of times he's been out there have not been that great. You've had to bring in Raisel Iglesias to back him up. If you do it again here tonight, you're affecting one of the guys that's one of your main components out of your bullpen from his mental makeup.
Here's Randall Grichuk with the bases loaded. First pitch fastball is in there, strike, or pardon me, breaking ball in there, strike. Lorenzen retired the first batter of the inning. 4 of the last 5 have reached. 1 has scored. And they're loaded with 2 away. Wow. Grichuk looked at a fastball.
That's his money pitch right there, and Grichuk just flat missed it. He let it go by him.
As you like to say, that's rat down Broadway.
And that's right in the good spot for Grichuk.
Out of play, 0-2.
That's where good hitters get themselves out. You start guessing, and you guess wrong, and you miss a fastball right down the heart of the plate. That's a problem.
0-2 on Randall Grichuk. Bases loaded. Reds in front by a run in the 8th with 2 outs.
Grichuk will chase that breaking ball off the plate. You can start it right on the outside edge. He will chase it off the plate away. But you got to start it there. Those last 2 breaking balls have started outside of the strike zone. It's a ball when it comes out of the hand of Lorenzen. You got to start it as a strike so the hitter sees it as a strike and then get it out of the strike zone.
Well, this figures to be the action pitch. Pitcher doesn't want to go to 3-2. Maybe the single biggest pitch of this game right here and right now. 2-2 coming. We'll do it again.
You look back at that pitch, it looks right in the heart of the plate until the last second, and it's got a little drop to it.
Two and 2 again, the count on Grichuk. Reds 3, Cardinals 2, bases loaded, 2 outs in the 8th. Trying to get him to chase a fastball, and now the count is full. Well, on a 3-2 count a minute ago, he threw a breaking ball to Colton Wong. There is no way there's a breaking ball coming here to Grichuk. Is there?
Never say never.
All right, good point. 3-2 on the way. And he threw in the breaking ball. What did you say, Cowboy? Never say what?
Never.
Oh, doctor. A 3-2 hook. Bang. Inning over. What'd you say, Cowboy? Never say what?
Never. Three-two hook with the game on the line and the bases loaded. Took a little gumption right there.
Well, it sure did. I mean, especially after the 3-2 breaking ball. Look at Brian Price. Yes, sir. Bang. But after the 3-2 breaking ball to Wong, the prior batter, and to come back and do it again. But, you know, as you pointed out in between it, as Zach Duke now continues on in the 8th in a 1-run game, if you throw it for a strike, it looks great. If you throw it 2 batters in a row and it's ball 4 both times,
then you look scared.
Yeah.
It's all about execution. You execute as Lorenzen did there, you look like a champ, and he did. But I go back to that 0-1 fastball that was right down the heart of the plate, and Grichuk took it.
Winker, a fly ball to center field, and that's the first out here in the 8th. I mean, Zach Duke, when he sees Joey Votto coming to the plate, he's got to be saying, all right, what am I going to do here? Votto has 27 at bats against this guy. He has 14 hits, 6 doubles, a home run. So that's a .519 batting average, an on-base percentage of 55%, and a slugging percentage of .852.
And I'm left-handed, says Zach Duke.
Votto not so sure about that call. He's saying there's no way that's a strike. You're looking ahead to that Cardinal 9th inning. It'll be 8-9-1 in their batting order. So they'll go pinch hitter, Jerko, and then Carpenter against Raisel Iglesias. Be a great time for a tack-on run here. Three and 2 to Votto.
You know, I used to think that the guys that hit 500 against me, I throw it in, they pull it down the right field line, I throw them away, they hit it down the left field line. Just throw it down the middle. Kind of a la Tony Gwynn. Let him hit it to the second baseman.
Well, how about that? That's the old knee buckler.
The yellow hammer. Start that one at the front hip. Breaks all the way across the plate, maybe off the plate.
Pretty good hook. And with 2 outs and nobody on, and a right-handed batter coming up, Mike Matheny will come get Duke. Don't forget, coming up tonight and after every game on Fox Sports Ohio, stick around for Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll break it all down. Jim Day from his Fox Sports Ohio condominium. And he's standing by, getting ready here shortly. We'll be back in a moment. neighborhood Kroger to save big store-wide great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Sam Tuivailala takes over on the mound.
He can dial it up a little bit with that fastball. I've seen him hit triple digits a few times in a Cardinal uniform.
He's not been scored upon in each of his last 6 outings. Nothing wrong with those numbers.
I think ultimately the Cardinals would envision seeing a hard thrower like this at the very back end of their bullpen, a la the closing role. But the control for Tuivailala just not quite there here in his young part of his career.
Broken bat and liner. And that will retire the side. Here we go. Top of the 9th inning coming up for the Cardinals. And Raisel Iglesias will try and nail down this 1-run lead. First 20,000 fans through the gate. That's a 7:10 first pitch. Receiver Raisel Iglesias bobblehead thanks to Penn Station. And as if on cue, look who's in the game to try and close it out for Asher Wojciechowski. That, of course, is Raisel.
Now, this is where you make your money as a closer. You just want to get 3 quick outs. Part of the reason that if you're Brian Price, you don't bring Iglesias in the 8th inning. You'd like to see a couple of wins in a row and be able to use this guy more than just one ball game.
I mean, look at this scoreless inning streak now, and knocking on the door of Chapman at Great American Ballpark. And here's Molina. He will bat for the pitcher. Tuivailala. Jerko to follow, and then Carpenter. Pitch on the way. And you knew he was swinging at the first pitch as soon as it came out of Iglesias' hand. Boy, he has been under the microscope here over the last 10 days in St. Louis. And I'm not so sure in a very positive light. Ground ball to short. Peraza taking a lot of time and gets rid of it. That's one out in the inning. That cost Peraza earlier in the game, you may remember. Holding on to that baseball, and it wound up being a hit. One gone here in the St. Louis ninth inning, and now it's Jerko. And a base hit into right field will put the tying run aboard.
A little bit of difference in that at bat for Jerko than what we saw against Lorenzen with runners aboard in the seventh. In the seventh, he's trying to pull the ball out of the ballpark and tie the ball game. Here, you see him just shoot the ball the other way.
Pitch runner going to come on now. That's the pitcher, Carlos Martinez. You know, that's one thing in Cowboy. Now is not the time to get into it. Maybe sometime down the road. I've never understood this move. Pitchers never run the bases unless you just have an exceptional athlete, i.e. Mike Leake. Guy that played a lot of college baseball.
Or a guy like Lorenzen.
Or Lorenzen. But, I mean, he's not going to take a lead at all because he's just not used to being over there. You know where I'm going with this. But first things first, here's Carpenter now. It's a tying run at first base. And it's in there a strike.
Well, I think what you're banking on, if you're Mike Matheny, you want a speedy guy or a speedier guy than Jed Jerko at first base in case Carpenter hits a ball into the gap and you got a chance to score from first base. That's the only reason you make this move. Because when you watch Martinez take his lead, even with Votto off the bag, he has no lead.
0-1 the count. And you know, even if you played a lot as a younger person, the instincts are just not there. I just wonder what the advantage is at the end of the day when all things are considered. And there's no way to prove it one way or the other.
Carpenter is a doubles guy. He's got 25 on the year. If he hits one here, you'd like for your guy at first base with the opportunity to score. That's the only reason you make this move.
Slider down and in.
Because the chances are for Jed Jerko, even if the ball hits the wall, he's not scoring from first base. He's just not that fast.
Well, where did that miss? I think Iglesias is wondering the same thing. Yeah. Fox track says off the inside corner. Two balls and a strike on Carpenter. Fooled him there.
You watch a closer like Iglesias, you're thinking, all right, I've got to guard against a fastball from the side or over the top, that hard sweeping hook and slider that he throws, and then he drops that changeup on you, and it's right on the outside corner. It's a strike whether you swing or not.
Those are not bad numbers for Carpenter against Iglesias. Most hitters are hitting under 200 or right around 200 against this uber talented Reds closer. 2-2 delivery. Just low, full count.
You want to talk about guys out of the Reds bullpen that have the whole package to start. That's where you where you begin.
Yeah.
It just, his arm just won't hold up to it. We've seen it twice now.
Well, you wouldn't figure on a pitcher running representing the tying run with 1 out in the 9th inning. He's not. Oh boy. You know, the Cardinals do have another position player left on their bench. And just wondering, you know, at this particular point in time, if with a runner now at second base, do you make that move? But apparently not. All right. Here's Pham. Been on base 3 times, has 2 hits. Breaking ball in there, a strike. The position player, by the way, is Luke Voigt, a middle infielder. Here's the 0-1. This has been the tightrope walk here for relievers Lorenzen and now Iglesias. Lorenzen allowing a run, ending the inning with the bases loaded, and now a single and a walk with a 1-run lead in the air to right field. That will back up Winker, and that's a 2nd out, and Martinez will tag up and advance on to 3rd. The best hitter in the Cardinal lineup is coming up against the best pitcher on the Reds team. It's as simple as that. DeYoung has been their best offensive player for 2 months. He, along with a man who just made that out, Pham. And now this crowd of nearly 37,000 will come to its feet, anticipating a final out. But the tying run stands at 3rd. The lead run goes at 1st. Swing and a miss on the hook, strike 1. Boy, that's a nasty slider right there.
Well, that's also a key for the Cardinal runner at 3rd base. A ball in the dirt, you're heading to the plate. Puts a lot of pressure on Barnhart, especially after that first pitch swing. If you're Iglesias, you're thinking, all right, I got him with a breaking ball, but you don't want to choke one off in front of home plate.
0-1 the count. And there you see again Barnhart, a great block and a pitch on the dirt.
If you're Iglesias right now, you're taking a deep breath and saying, oh, thank you, Tucker. Good job, everybody.
Are you throwing back-to-back sliders here? 1 ball, 1 strike. Another breaking ball, but that one stayed in the middle of the plate a little bit. Iglesias may have gotten away with one there. You've gone 3 straight breaking balls. You tell me, Jeff Brantley.
You can elevate the fastball. You can run the fastball in off the plate. Personally, I like the fastball above the catcher's mask. He has not seen your fastball.
Tying run at 3rd base. 2 outs in the 9th. Iglesias, the pause, and the pitch. Got it! Swinging, and the Reds win. Oh, he came back with another slider. So Cowboy, Reds win. Fireworks and Flo Rida on this Friday night.
It is always oh happy day when the Reds win.
All right. Iglesias allows a hit. The Cardinals strand 2, but they do not score. They leave 10 on base in the game here tonight. And the Reds with a 3-2 win of 1. Now 4 of their last 5.